What's up, YouTube? How you guys doing? Chris Rod, Sun City Lawn Care here with a new video. We are in, what is today? February 1st, 2023, and it's that time of the year, y'all. It is that time of the year where if you have been growing some winter annual or winter perennial grass types in your southern Bermuda lawns, now is the time where we want to start taking care of some of that ryegrass. This is world's worst lawn right here, I swear to God. That's what the video is about today. We're going to be doing two types of applications. I'm going to talk to you more about each one of those applications. We are going to combine a pre-emergent and a post-emergent for our Bermuda lawn care. Stay tuned. All right, guys, so today we're talking about two different types of applications. We're going to be implementing a pre-emergent application utilizing Prodiame. That's part one. And then part two, we're also going to be applying some Katana, which is our post-emergent. Again, that's Katana, our post-emergent, which also has a little bit of pre-emergent properties to it, okay? Now, this is a southern lawn. I grow Bermuda in my backyard here. This is more of a homeowner type style video, but this can also be used for your commercial properties or commercial applications if you guys are, licensed to do so. So in the backyard throughout the winter, for those that have followed my channel, what we primarily have here is Bermuda grass, okay? We have a hybrid Bermuda mix, and throughout the winter, what I like to do is overseed the lawn early around September, October, and that way I've got a green lawn throughout the winter. And I use a perennial ryegrass. Now, the reason why I use perennial is because I like the darker color of it, okay? Now, this past season, and I want to show you guys the good and the bads of my very own backyard so that when you guys are doing your own analysis or your own homework, your own research, you can see that not everything turns out the way it's supposed to be, and sometimes it's great if you resort back to some of our prior videos. Last season, I had a full green perennial ryegrass all the way up until I sprayed it. This year, though, as you guys can see, it hasn't turned out to be all that great, okay? A lot of brown in there, right? But we also have some really dark green in here as well. So it's that time of the year to spray out this ryegrass. You have to do it at a certain time, okay? If you have an established lawn, you got to do one of two options. You either need to mow it out, which requires a very short mow to where you are stressing out the ryegrass to where it kills off and it subsides, and then that way the Bermuda can come out of dormancy and there's no competition between the two grass types. In my case, I have established turf, so I'm going to be utilizing a selective herbicide called Katana, and we're going to be spraying out the ryegrass today. Now, it is a class 2 herbicide, and what it does is it stops the growth of the plant, okay, and it starts to reside. It basically stops growing, okay. Now, in some areas, some of this grass is 2 inches. I've got some that's about 3.5 inches behind me. And the time period that it takes for it to start to die back can range depending on when you spray it. Obviously in cooler temperatures, it takes a little longer. It almost takes up to 3 weeks to start to see some of the residual effects of your application. If you're in the warmer temperatures and you're doing a selective herbicide application, say springtime or summertime, you should see a faster residual or the efficacy of the herbicide take place within 7 days. Normally you start to see that chlorosis and the dieback of the undesirable plant, or the weed in this case. So what we're trying to do is we're going to get away from our northern grass type ryegrass, and we're going to get back to our southern hybrid Bermuda lawn, okay? Now, here's a key aspect of this whole process, and what I want you to understand is if you are overseeding your lawn, keep in mind that the ryegrass is an allelopathic grass type, okay? What that means is that the grass itself has a hormone inside of it that protects itself, okay? And it will kill any other weeds, grass, plants around it so that it can survive. That hormone will kill the Bermuda grass. That is the reason why you have to either mow it out or spray it out early springtime so that the transition from the rye to the Bermuda takes place. Now, as you guys can see behind me, you know, it's very sparse. There's some ryegrass that's coming up. We've got some that was established. Overall, we're going to be treating the lawn today, okay? So your first step is you will have a better effect on the grass, or the herbicide application will have a better residual effect, the efficacy, if you will, is if you start cutting your grass shorter, okay? You want this ryegrass to be as short as possible. So here's my recommendation. You take whatever mower you got, whether it's a real mower or a rotary mower, you drop it to its lowest setting, you make sure you got a bagging system on there, and you bag those clippings, you give it a mow, and you bag all those clippings. That's essentially step one. Your next step is simply spraying the yard, okay? Here's the catch, okay? After you spray your herbicide, you really need to stay off the lawn, okay? You want to make sure you're doing it on a non-windy day. By recommended label is 10 miles per hour or less. You've got some good sunlight, and you've got no forecast coming in, okay? You don't want to water within 24 to 48 hours after your application as well. It's essentially step one, mowing your grass as short as possible. Step two, spraying your yard. Step three, let the herbicide take effect. Let it do its thing, okay? Now, what we're doing today, though, and this is an acceptable process if you want to do so, is if you have not already done your pre-emergent application, you can apply a product like Prodiame, which is a pre-emergent, and a product like Katana, which is a post-emergent with some pre-emergent properties. You can combine those in your same application, okay? Here's the catch. On a post-emergent, normally you do not water. You never want to water after you apply a post-emergent, okay? You want that product to be soaked up by the plant or the undesirable weed, and then you want to go ahead and let it do its thing. With a pre-emergent, the Prodiame, you typically want to water that product in, okay? Now, normally, if I'm just doing a pre-emergent application, I'm going to go ahead and do the application. I'm going to spray I'm going to do a blanket spray on the property or the lawn areas, and then we're going to go ahead and cycle the irrigation system to where we get at least a good ½ inch of water for the entire lawn area. So in today's case, this is an option that I'm trying to show you guys of what you can do with a post-emergent application and a pre-emergent. So I'm going to go ahead and spray the yard after I mow. So if you want to watch that whole me spraying the yard process, keep watching. But I'm going to go ahead and mow it up, trim it up, edge it, clean it up, bag, dispose of the clippings, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and spray the yard with both products, Prodiame and the Katana. I'm going to put in the tank mixer, okay? I am not going to water today. Here's the deal with your pre-emergent applications. As long, and please always follow your label, the label's the law. If you read the fine print on the label of Prodiame, as long as you water in the product within 14 days of the application, you will be fine, okay? You don't have to water the lawn after you do pre-emergent application. If you're getting some rainfall, maybe within 24 to 48 hours, that's absolutely fine. You don't have to water the day of. Save your water bill, wait till that rain comes. In my case, because I'm trying to do two things at once, I'm getting rid of the ryegrass with the Katana, the post-emergent application, and I'm going to be doing my pre-emergent application. I'm going to wait at least 48 hours before I water in my pre-emergent, the Prodiame. That is absolutely acceptable, guys. All right. So that's pretty much it. That's the basics of what we're doing today. That's what we're talking about, the pre and post emergent applications. I'm going to go ahead and do both at the same time. I'm showing you, demonstrating how we can protect my very own yard by doing that application itself. Y'all stay tuned. If you have any questions, follow along. Leave the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and like the channel. We've got a whole new lawn care season ahead of us, but this is how we're going to be taking care of this ryegrass. And see all those dog pee spots? I let the dogs do their business all winter long, but it's already killed the ryegrass. So it's time to transition back to my Bermuda lawn. Leave the comments below. And as far as the application rates, what I do want to mention is make sure you just read the label, okay? Now, the Prodiame on the low end, we're at a 0.36 ounces per 1,000 square feet, okay? per gallon, okay? That's very important. There are maximum rates that you would comply. There are minimum rates. We're gonna go at the minimum, as I always like to do, and as I always like to coach, excuse me, because we do additional applications throughout the season. And the Katana, if you've never used Katana like myself, this is my first time. The reason why is you want to alternate between class graded herbicides. Grass types, plant types, weeds can grow custom to that herbicide, and it stops the efficacy of the actual herbicide when it's used to being sprayed the same herbicide over and over and over. You got to change it up. So in the past years, I've used different herbicides to kill the ryegrass. This year, I'm using Katana. That particular herbicide, it's extremely expensive. For that little bottle, let me show you the bottle, guys. This is a 5-ounce bottle, very small, okay? It's 0.034 ounces per 1,000 per gallon, okay? This big old jug right here, this Prodiame, we use it for commercial properties and whatnot, okay? So it lasts me a while, but we buy the bigger stuff, okay, for pre-emergent. But that post-emergent, it's a very expensive, it's a $200-something bottle, okay? You do not have to buy that, okay? I'm not telling you to, I'm not recommending that you go out and get it. There are cheaper products out there. Certainty is one I've used in the past. I have made videos about that particular product. That's a very, I guess, homeowner affordable kind of selective herbicide. Either way, your rate application for the Katana is 0.034 ounces per 1,000 per gallon square foot, okay? There's a difference. Make sure you gram it out, scoop it out, use proper measuring devices accordingly to go ahead and do your application, guys. I hope that is enough information up front for you. If you want to go ahead and continue watching the process, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Stay tuned, because I'm going to show you guys the transition from this ryegrass to the Bermuda lawns. We've got fertility applications coming up, and we have additional micronutrient applications. And if you guys are into gardening and whatnot, stay tuned, because I do gardening videos as well. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great one. Also, what I wanted to show you is some of the weeds that we're going to be spraying today. I know the video is about spraying out the ryegrass and applying my pre-emergent, but if you follow along in the past videos, what we have done is, even after my overseeding project, I explained to you guys the time period, which is 6 to 8 weeks prior or after prior to spray your pre-emergent if you're before you do your overseeding, but it's, you know, up to 4 weeks after your overseeding job, which you can spray a pre-emergent 4 to 6 weeks. So I did that last season, and I just, to show you the validity, there are no weeds inside the lawn. I take that back. There are weeds, okay, and I wanted to show you guys those weeds. But there's not a lot of weeds. There's a couple weeds, but I want to show you the weeds. And I've actually never even seen that weed in this lawn before. And then if you'll remember from the video, I had flowers that were blooming, okay, along the rock wall. Because of my flower bed, some of the seedlings would drop. But just to show you guys some of these weeds here, we got a couple broadleafs that are popping up. Now, it's hard to differentiate between whether these are broadleafs or actual flowers that are already germinating inside the lawn from my flower bed. But like I said, we're here to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. I am susceptible to these weeds as well. Okay. Now, right behind me, that area right there, I try to stay clear as far away as possible, because I grow produce back here. I do leafy greens. This year, I've actually got potatoes growing here. We had a pumpkin patch this past year. So I don't spray really that close to it. I try to stay away. When you're doing these pre-emergent applications, it's important, and even the post-emergent, to not spray where you're growing vegetables and produce, okay? So I kind of stay clear. So those weeds there, that's understandable. But again, the bad, the ugly. Back here, we've got irrigation problems, and the dogs. I've been letting them do their business over here, and they've been kind of at it over the winter, digging up their little warm spot, because that soil next to the house gets really warm. And then back here, look at this guy right here. That is definitely a broadleaf there. And there's another one, and we got old Daisy right there next to the pull pump. And we got a couple more right there and right there. So, I mean, it just goes to show you, even though you spray your pre-emergent down at the appropriate times of the season, you got to remember this. When you guys are spraying, whether it be dithiopyr or prodiamine, they do not stop every single weed, okay? There are susceptible areas, as you've noticed, the crack between the grass and the pullback over here is a line there where you're doing your edging, okay? That seedling, the weed seeds, they find their way every time, every single year. And, you know, it is what it is. And inside the lawn, what did I show you? This whole lawn next to the rock wall, some of the flowers that are popping up, or maybe they're broadleaf weeds. But for the majority of the lawn, what did we see? One little weed. Now, there's a broad look of the whole yard. There are no other weeds, which is great. It means the prodiamine applications do work. The alternation between the prodiamine and the dithiopyr and the prodiamine at the appropriate times of the season, that is why we put down this pre-emergent. If you guys are looking for the greenest lawn, weed-free lawn in the block, you got to get yourself at least get the prodiamine product, okay? If you need to know where to get it, ask below in the comments. I'm not going to put a product link in there. I really stay away from that stuff, but I can point you in the right direction via question and comments, okay? But let me get back to mowing you guys, edging and cleaning, and I'll show you the spraying process. All right, guys, so as you guys can tell, we just got through mowing the lawn. I did not edge it because what I want to do is be able to target the actual grass or weed, as you saw earlier, that are in the cracks and crevices. So what we're doing simply now is mixing the products together. I've already got my prodiamine in here, and the process to filling up your tank sprayer is you want to get it a good, you know, if you're spraying 1,000 square feet, you want to fill it up halfway. Go ahead and put your product in and then agitate it, okay? Agitate is very important. You want to, because you have to remember, these are wettable, dispersible granulars, okay? They come in these little granulars, and you gotta dilute that product in the water. So the way we do that is simply through agitation. This is one method where I go ahead and put my sprayer in, and I let it filter through the hose, agitating that mixture so it's all combined together. Another option is they have these attachments you can put on the end of a drill screw or a drill. It's like a drill bit basically, and it's used primarily for paint when you're mixing paint, but you can go ahead and use that as well. I've seen that done. You can go ahead and swish it around for a good 3 to 5 minutes. You just want to make sure your product is combined very well. So again, this is the newer product we're going to be using. This is Katana. And again, the application rate we're going to be applying today is simply 0.034 ounces per 1,000 square feet. I quite literally have 1,000 square feet in my backyard. So we are using the minimum rate here. And it does come with a piece of foil on there to keep it secure and sealed properly. Once you break that seal, you can use your measuring device, or you can use a scale and gram it out, because this is literally 1 to 2 teaspoons, if I'm not mistaken, of mixture if you don't have a measuring device. Again, we're going to go at the 0.034 ounces per 1,000 square feet. So let me show you how little of a product amount that is. And that is too much. That's about it right there. My device here that I'm using actually has a 0 ounce, and then the next level is 0.075. So we're simply cutting that in half, which is going to give me that 0.032-ish, 2.5 ounce rate per 1,000 square feet. We're going to go ahead and drop that in our container, our mixer there, our sprayer. I'm going to go ahead and seal that back up, put that bad boy out of the way. And then we're going to go ahead and agitate it some more. And then lastly, what you want to do is you want to fill your tank sprayer the rest of the way, and we're going to be doing 1 gallon. And as you guys can see, my dog went ahead and bit a nice hole inside of my sprayer or my water hose. After you get your 1 gallon filled up, you want to agitate it some more. Alright guys, that's it. That's a simple process of spraying both a pre-emergent and a post-emergent on the same application. As you guys can see, there's no irrigation running. I am not going to water this in. Remember, you can't water it in if you spray a post-emergent to kill actively growing weeds or to kill an undesirable grass type and remove it from your southern Bermuda lawns, which is what we did here today. So last thing I do want to mention is that make sure if you guys decide to go down the road of doing your own applications, make sure you read the label. The label is the law. It's going to tell you everything you need to know outside of this video, of course, and it's going to get very detailed and descriptive, and it might learn something in addition to reading the label than you did on this video. And as always, make sure you guys are wearing your PPE, shoes, socks, long sleeve shirts, your gloves, your eye protection wear. And if you do decide to wear a face mask, that's absolutely fine as well, so you're not breathing in any harmful chemicals. We're not on a windy day. We've got no forecast. Today was just an absolute perfect day to go ahead and spray this yard with the pre and post emergent. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them below. I'm here to help you guys in any way, shape, and form. I do appreciate you guys again watching and checking out how ugly my yard has become and how I'm going to transform it to the greenest lawn on the block. Check you guys later. Stay tuned.